Good morning and happy Friday, or whatever day it may happen to be when you are watching this. I wanted to come to you today with a phrase that would not leave me alone last night. You know those things that you have when you're falling asleep and they just kind of stick with you? There was a phrase that entered my head and I kept pondering on it. That phrase is constant remembering. Constant remembering. Part of me just wants to leave those words with you and walk away and just say, think about it. Whatever that means to you, think about it. But for those who just hear it and nothing kind of comes to mind, I wanted to throw out a couple of perspectives for you. The first one, constant remembering for me is something that shapes my day-to-day life. I am reminded of different things depending on what art I have hanging on my walls or what reminders I have set up for me through Google or my electronic things that pop up. I'm reminded of news stories the more that I scroll through Facebook or friends' birthdays. All of these things help me remember. Some of the things I want to remember, some of them I don't. So when I've talked before about creating the life in which I want to live, in which I want us to live, deciding how we are going to remind ourselves, deciding what little things we're going to leave out there to help us remember the next day is crucial. I have random pieces of art up in my house, things like "Oh So Grateful" and "Our Thoughts Shape the World." Every time I pass one of those, I read it because that's what you do when you see text, you automatically read it. I see it and I'm reminded. I'm reminded. This can go in a few different ways. I have, like a health magazine setting out or my weights that I left on the floor or something like that, and I'm reminded. I'm reminded that I want to be healthy and fit. I can also have bills lying around, or when I turn on my computer screen, suddenly the email inbox, it's massive. And I remember all of the things that I have not done. These things can create a tsunami of emotions, truly. So constant remembering, I guess my invitation for you for that is to just think about the things in your world and how and what they are causing you to remember. The people around you, what are they helping you or hurting you with remembering? The things around you, the art, your own thoughts. So that's number one. Number two, for constant remembering, is I like to think about the origins, perhaps, of the word remembering. Now, I'm definitely not a linguist, but I came across it before to think about the idea of remembering as you have members like members of your body, parts of a whole, right? Members. When you remember, you bring those things back together. When I remember, I bring myself back together. I heard this before a long time ago, I think in the context of remembering ancestry and remembering the stories of those who have come before us as a way to bring ourselves back together, back into this whole being that we truly are. When I talk about, and when I pondered last night, about constant remembering in this sense, it's something that I think that we have to practice, that we have forgotten, that we need to practice on a daily basis, remembering our own story, the stories of those that came before us, and the stories that we are leaving for those after us. That also doesn't just mean my story. It means your story. It means the person over here's story. It means the cashier's story and the person who's tailgating you story and the person across the world and the person you want to hate, the person you love. All of these stories, all of them need to be remembered for us to be whole. I haven't gone into much depth with a lot of this, and I want to just kind of leave this, put these concepts out there for you to remember. But if you take nothing else from this video, I'm going to plant in your head, just like it was planted in mine, that idea of constant remembering. And I want you to think about and feel what it means to you. What does it mean to you for constant remembering? And what does it mean for a practice that you might take upon today? Or a different way that you might see the world or be in the world. So that's my invitation for you today. May you find a fulfilling way to see and practice constant remembering.